This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Well, joining us today is Ryan Mee, the CEO of Fulcrum Metal. Thank you very much for your time, Ryan. Of course, the last time that I saw you in person, met you for the first time, was at that event in London, which I think we'll agree was a bigger success than anyone thought. I counted 50 people in the room there, and there was lots of engagement. So well done on the three companies for organising that. And I think just a day or two later, you flew out to Canada, didn't you, to look at the projects?
Yes, Mark. Firstly, the investor event went down really well. It was very well received. So thank you to everybody that attended and interacted with that investor evening. I think we may have just set a new standard for investor events to make it a bit more inclusive. And yes, I flew out to Canada the next day to go and have a look at our Tully project, have a look at just confirm the site access and have a look at some of the logistics around what we need to do later on this year.
So it wasn't your first time visiting Tully, because of course I think you'd been there before for your part of your due diligence, but what was the real objective for going out? You mentioned there about looking for access for your active program that we've talked about before. You want to get going before the end of the year, but what else did you encounter while you were there? I've seen some media going around with pallets and pallets and pallets of what looked like historic core samples.
Yeah, so there were two objectives to the primarily to the visit. The first one was just to confirm the logistics, the access, which just verified the fact that actually, and unusually for Northern Ontario, we've got some very good access to the property. Okay. There's a road which has been constructed up to the Go West Bradwell Gold Mine. So that comes straight off the highway, and we're about 11 kilometres up there. And what we actually done this time is we trekked out along the kind of subsidiary road along to the Tully project to see where the baseline is for where this historic resource is. And the great news is that the infrastructure is there for us, which is not only just a huge saving on cost, but also time. And also there's a locked gate on there. So it means that we'll be able to bring all the drill rigs in on site, and we can just lock the gate up and leave them overnight, which is a massive value add. And there's also, we had a look at power lines, which transects to the north of the property. So all in all, we've got very good access. We've got the local infrastructure. So these are all massive positives for us. And what we also done is at the moment, we've got drill core stored on two different sites. And on the one side, we've got I think it's 3 shipping containers full of a variety of information like pulps, rejects, paperwork for probably about three years worth of reading time. So we went through all of that information, moved all the paperwork that we want to keep over to just to the one site where most of the drill core is. We had a look at the drill core. We had a look to see if we could find any of the original assay certificates, which we successfully located. What this really brought home, and I'd encourage people to have a look at social media over the coming days as we put some more photos out there, and that we've got a lot of really, really good core with really good veining, really good mineralization, such as anchorite and pyrite, and these are all fantastic indicators of the presence of gold. And notwithstanding the fact that this deposit is actually 107,000 ounces at a potentially economic grade of just over 6 grams a ton. And in actual fact, we located some of the more substantial assays, one being nearly 75 ounces of gold per ton, which quite frankly is a fantastic grade. I don't think I've seen many grades like it, to be honest with you. So what we've done is we've kind of put together an itinerary of where all this drill core is. bearing in mind there's over 100 pallets of that. In previous RNS, we've said that we're going to look at this hyperspectral drill core scanning. So now that we know where all the drill core is in which pallet, that's really going to help us with that. So we're talking to a technology provider for those services so that we can try and expedite getting some historic core scanned. And depending on the success of that, we'll bring that forward into the drill campaign later this year.
Okay, so you're looking to get some of that historic core scanned. Is any of the information that you've received, is it digitized? You said 3 years perhaps worth of reading. Do you plan to go through everything, or is some of it digitized? I know you already have, I think, your drill target ready for this year anyway, don't you?
Yeah, well, the great thing about the Tully project is we know roughly where the ore body is. It's just about quantifying what's there.
Okay.
So we, the historic resource covers around 600 meters of a 1,600 meter strike. Now that's been proved with various densities of drilling throughout that ore body. So we know where the ore body is, and the fact that it's within 600 meters, we know pretty much the target areas that we want to go out to drill next.
Okay.
So really, we've confirmed the access is there for us. It's not going to be an issue, which means we don't need to use expensive things like helicopters, which is really going to help us drill more meters. And we know the power lines are there should we need them. And now we know exactly where all this drill core is, and that's going to help shape what the drill program looks like. And also, it's going to really help us dig quite deep into what the style of this mineralization is.
Okay.
Cognizant, there is a historic resource, so there is a wealth of data, and it is digitized. I'd probably say about 85% of it is. All the stuff that we really need is there. But it's a highly constrained resource estimate. We know that there's holes in that resource estimate that we can target to really bump this resource up. And that's what we're going after. We know the deposit's there. We know the grade is there, and grade is king on these things because that's going to tell you whether it's going to be a deposit which could potentially be put in production. So now this is all about resource enhancement. And in some ways, that's almost trying to poke holes in the previous model and actually maybe develop a slightly different concept.
Well, it's a very good place to start. I think if I remember correctly, was it owned previously by 1911? Is that the company?
Yes, it was previously owned by 1911 Gold. Now they digitized some of the database, but other than that, they didn't do any work. This project hasn't seen any drilling since 2013, which was by SGX Resources. This property's been through a few corporate transactions, and it's always been the project which is tantalizing, but it seems to have always been fell within a corporate entity where they're already going full guns on another project.
On another project, yeah. I think that's what we talked about before, that they 1911 weren't able to focus on it. But they've got that significant 107,000 ounces anyway at 6 grams per tonne. It's already established. So you're basically looking to use the existing data there in conjunction with your upcoming drilling campaign to add to the data set and add to the resource, really.
Exactly. This is all about opening up a pathway to a significantly enhanced resource. And our drilling program, which through this winter, will be targeting exactly that. So that's going to be focused on key areas where we feel that the resource estimate is weakly covered or just not covered at all.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. I hope we can do a feature on that drill program when you've got the plans finalised and just before you start drilling in the winter. But for now, thank you very much for your time, Ryan Mee, CEO of Fulcrum Metals.
Thank you, Mark. Always a pleasure.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programmes at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.